Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to all the contributors of my Patreon channel. Your support is necessary, and without you, none of this is possible. And if you'd also like to support the channel directly, Cash App and PayPal are available. Just be sure to let me know in the For section if it's okay for me to thank you publicly, or else I'll assume you'll want to remain anonymous.
And here we go.
I told you to do Biden. Now we done lost a damn vote. We done lost a vote. That's gonna go to Trump. God damn.
Y'all worshiping these people like they're God.
Ain't nobody worshiping them. But God damn it, Chris, we need somebody in there with mother sense.
Look at the fight.
He vote independent.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? You know what I said do when you go in there. You go.
That's what I did.
No, you didn't. You go in there, honey. I told you. I said go Democrat Biden. Now there's a vote that we done lost that can go to Trump.
This is why I don't do politics. I will never do this again.
He said he ain't gonna vote again.
Laymans Journal Chapter 240. One of the most dangerous things you can do as a black man in the black community is defy mama. And I'm not just talking about as a child, I'm talking as a grown man. Because the black community operates in a gynocracy, where women are on top and men are at the bottom. So we're conditioned to serve them as leaders, supervisors, and gods. And under no condition are we allowed to think for ourselves, lest we suffer the consequences, especially when it comes to voting.
You said something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Yeah. Full stop.
Something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister. It was a sister that raised you. It was a sister that taught you how to read. It was a sister that taught you how to bathe yourself.
But, you know, we can't poll people's hearts and we can't see into people's hearts. And so when we're looking at these polls and we're looking at who is voting for Trump, you've got 53% of white women that voted for him in 2020. We've got to reach those women. We've got to reach those ridiculous, crazy black men that did vote for Trump. We've got to reach those people.
Kamala's opponent promised a lot of things last time to the black community that he did not deliver on. And we got to make sure we help black men understand that.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. My understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly. When you have a choice that is this clear, and you're thinking about sitting out, and you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses, I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Now you would think with all of that negativity, a majority of us were voting Republican, but that isn't the case. Now this doesn't apply for me personally, but according to the data, black men are the most progressive men in America. We, more than any other group, vote Democrat, and we have no issue supporting women. However, I do acknowledge that it's a trend that's rapidly changing. Black men have made a mass exodus from the Democrat Party. Now that doesn't mean the majority are voting Republican. What has actually happened is they've stopped voting, period. But for those that do continue voting, the support for the GOP is about 25 to 40%, depending on your age demographic. So there is an issue with black men voting Republican. But even still, as a collective group, we lean Democrat. Still, that isn't enough. More obedience is required, and we see that to be the case with actress, singer, and all-around nutbag Jenifer Lewis, who fashions herself as a matriarchal figure in the black community. She thinks she's a mother to all of us, And recently she had some stern words for black men who did not choose to support Kamala Harris in an interview she had with Stephen A. Smith.
Y'all done f***ed up.
Yeah, she said some really foul stuff, and we're gonna talk about it. So, let's get it. First, I'd like to reiterate the fact that Jenifer Lewis is batshit crazy.
We gonna be alright if we stand as the people. We gonna be alright if we trust with the people. We gonna be alright if we rise as one people.
Seriously, who the hell does that in the middle of an interview? And the look on Stephen A's face. He's got that uncomfortable smile. It's somewhere between laughter and cringe. But the reason why I'm talking about her is because her attitude towards black men and the rationality behind her hatred is commonplace in the black community. So as crazy as she may seem, and she is, she's not alone. There are millions of women like her, especially amongst generations X and boomers. So let's get started.
And I believe that Kamala Harris would have done that. This thing is divisive, cruel, and evil, insane, narcissistic, and he's a sociopath.
Now, this is a behavior that's common amongst misandrist women. They love to psychoanalyze or pathologize men who don't go along with the program, all while using hyperbolic language, portraying us as villains and evildoers.
Educate yourself, because you're losing your rights, and I'm talking to the Gen Zs and the millennials now. So learn how to fight.
Now watch what she does right here.
People, listen to Steve. Listen to Stacey Abrams. Listen to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters. Listen to them. Listen to who knows what roads to take now.
Did you catch that? She's telling people they should educate themselves, and she gave a list of people they should listen to. And every person she named was a woman. And not just any woman, they were black women of the radical left. These are the people that she says Gen Zs and millennials should look to for leadership. And keep in mind, she's not just talking to young women, she's also talking to young men, all groups of men, white, black, Asian, and Hispanic. Now, in fairness, even though you can barely hear it, she also mentioned Stephen A. Smith, but that was done as an afterthought, as a courtesy for being on his platform. If she were anywhere else, she would not have mentioned his name. But my point is, you see the gynocracy in her, the black gynocracy in her. This is a woman who believes in absolute female authority, and only female authority. Keep that in mind as we go further.
Let me ask you this. What about what they've said in terms of black, particularly black men and Latinos, supported him more than they have in the past? Why do you think that is, and what do you have to say to black men and Latinos who were not in favor of supporting Kamala Harris?
All right, I'm going to need you to buckle up because things are going to go off the rails now. She's really about to kick it up a notch.
Oh, honey. When your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or the next door neighbor, and she tries to abort that baby inside of her from a rape, you're gonna regret that.
What kind of shit is that?
So right off the rip, she starts with her fear-mongering. All your daughters and your nieces are gonna be penetrated against their will, all because Trump won the election. So she's demonizing men in the process, on top of making the question a woman's issue, because she's talking about baby terminations, even though she was asked about what she would say to men. And this is something Dr. Tia San Johnson often speaks about, how whenever there's a conversation about men and what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, it immediately shifts to how it affects women, and how the problem with men ultimately becomes a burden for women. So even in the conversations where we're supposed to be in the forefront, we're immediately pushed to the back burner, which is an example of what little regard the media has for us.
They want to keep women in their place. It's so disgusting. I can't even put words to them voting for her. They didn't vote for her, didn't vote because she was a woman.
They didn't care that she was smart and powerful, educated, beautiful, kind, joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. But keeping women in their place was more important to them.
No.
Yeah, this old bird is crashing all the way out. So now we're all Mr. from the color purple.
Look at you. You're black, you're poor, you're ugly, you're a woman, you're nothing at all.
We didn't vote for Kamala Harris because we're misogynistic and we want to control women. This is the same BS Barack Obama was speaking about earlier. And again, this is how they trivialize our issues as men, by simply pretending as if they don't exist and using hyperbolic language to pathologize us. Because she can't fathom the idea of us, and by us I mean men, having concerns that are unique to our own experiences in America. Which isn't shocking because Jenifer Lewis is a gynocrat. Remember, when she came up with her list of people we should listen to, it was a bunch of women. So this woman is incapable or even considering what a man's needs may possibly be. Because if you really think about it, she doesn't see us as men, not in a practical sense. Because women like Jenifer Lewis really see men as dysfunctional women. She thinks we're supposed to act like them, think like them, that our concerns should be their concerns. That's why she immediately made the question a woman's issue. And because we're not in line with their agenda, we're problematic. We must hate women, because there's no way we'd have ideas of our own.
And black men, that was just shocking because, honey, he's gonna give the military and the police permission to shoot you in your back and there will be no immunity.
She really thinks she's cooking. But hold on to that thought because it ties into something I'm going to address a little bit later.
You don't think it was a simple situation of looking at the economy, looking at inflation, looking at crime and saying, excuse me, providing and protect, and as men, that's what we want, and as a result of that, I mean, I voted for her, I wasn't voting for him. But speaking to men who felt differently, they didn't think about Roe v. Wade, they didn't think about stuff, they thought about the economy, money in their pockets, and safety in the streets.
Now right here, I want to give props to Stephen A. Smith for pushing back a little bit, acknowledging the fact that yes, men are individuals capable of thinking for themselves, and we can consider complex issues like the economy, crime, and inflation, that we don't just walk around thinking about how we can control and dominate women all day, or try to force them to have children. We want to make money just like everyone else, so we can feed our families and pay our bills. And when you consider the fact that 63% of men under 30 are electively single, I can promise you, women were the last things on our mind. But of course, Jenifer, being the old witch that she is, isn't going to consider Stephen A.'s point. She's just going to double down on her buffoonery.
First of all, do you see women breaking in people's houses? Do you see women shooting each other in the streets? They voted because they voted for Trump because, I hate saying his name. They voted for him because they hate themselves.
Wait a minute. What was she just saying a second ago?
And black men, that was just shocking because, honey, he's gonna give the military and the police permission to shoot you in your back and there will be no immunity.
For the third time, this woman is batshit crazy. She went from fear-mongering and telling us Trump was going to give the police the green light to mistreat us, to now depicting us as violent thugs and criminals, and haters of ourselves. So what flavor of dog food is this broad smoking? What argument is she trying to make?
And don't think we're all not at fault. All of us. We went to our jobs and came home and sat on the sofa and watched movies of destruction. Superman, Batman, the end of this, Armageddon. Well, all of that social consciousness has brought us here. So now, like I said, Lex Luthor is finally in the fucking White House. What are you gonna do about it?
All right. And this is where I'm going to leave the interview. I'm not going to even address that goofy stuff she just said. Superman, Batman, Armageddon, and Lex Luthor? That's crazy talk. But it doesn't surprise me, given her background.
You know, I've never been married. I've been engaged 4 times.
And it shows. In other words, she's an old, fun girl who aged out of the system, meaning she has no history of being agreeable with men. And I'm willing to bet she's mad about it, bitter about it, which is probably the basis of her frustration towards us, as she seems to have conflated her personal issues with men with her opinions on the way that we vote. And that's why it's so easy for me to dismiss her. But unfortunately, she's not alone. Her ideology and the way that she speaks of black men is common in our community. So I'm going to close things right here, but before I go, please be sure to check out the other videos in my library, as I'm sure there's something there you'll enjoy. And if you like this video, please share the link on your social media platforms. I cannot stress enough how far that goes into helping me grow the channel. That's it. That's all I have to say about it. What do you have to say about it? Leave a comment in the comment section and let's have a conversation.
How am I spending my Friday? Some jerk chicken with rice seasoned, red beans and some bread. Got some red wine over here. And I'm watching Layman's Journal on YouTube. Shout out to the brother Layman. You know, check him out. I'll leave the link in the description. It's your boy Calvin King. And this is how I'm enjoying my Friday.